Right, I'm here with Jane Gallagher, and we've met, what, 3 years ago, do you think? Or maybe 4 years ago.
Yep.
And Jane came to me and Fiona, Going Wild, with a wonderful idea about how to get kids outdoors into woodlands, and she came up with this concept of Playful Woodland, didn't you? So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that first.
Well, we were having a roam in some woods near Nottinghamshire, and our children came across a little door that had been cut into an old tree trunk, a dead tree trunk. And so somebody had made this little door in the tree trunk. And
a fairy's door or a little
yes.
person's
Well, so we were out for a walk with the children, and we had dragged them out for a walk. It's never, yes, Mum, I want to go for a walk. It's always like, ooh.
Yeah, that's
so,
it.
But this really added to our walk because we spent about 2 hours at the door, and our walk stopped, which was great for the children because they just played, and they wondered who had made the door, and they made little. They got some acorns and made fairy cups, and for 2 hours this door
actually
inspired
opened up a whole
play.
new world.
Yeah.
So I remember you came to us with this lovely idea about trying to do this in Oxford, in a woodland, and well, actually we did it, didn't we?
We did it, yes. Well, I think because we had the first discussion, and we were so inspired by the idea of getting children into the outdoors, getting their families into the outdoors, getting their grandparents out, getting people out together, coming and spending time in the fresh air, and all the good things that come from it.
And making it exciting, and making it less of a trudge. So, and then what we did together is we did an enormous living willow, actually it was hazel dragon, wasn't it, in a bit of inner city woodland in Oxford. And because it was so successful, we are now working on number 2, and we're actually sitting on the beginnings of a willow dragon in Oxford. And the idea will be, I don't know, what, 60 odd metres long,
yes,
isn't it? And it weaves its way through this bit of nature park in the middle of Oxford, and the idea is it will get kids playing and imagining about dragons. And so your background is play, we were talking earlier. And you worked for Oxfordshire Play Association.
Yeah.
And so I was interested, what was your childhood like? What made you sort of want to get children playing again?
Well, I think it's because at every downtime you had when you weren't at school, there would be someone knocking on the door to say, is Jane there? Is Jane coming out to play?
Now, I have to stop you there because you told me you were brought up in Glasgow. Is that
Yes.
right? Inner city?
Inner city, yes.
So we're not talking about sort of the wilds or,
No, I can't even think of a green patch near us.
But that didn't stop you going outdoors?
Very
and playing?
suburban. Yeah, we were just out there. We just wanted to go out, away from where the adults were.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. It was, we went out as soon as school finished, or as soon as swap shop had finished.
Yeah, I remember that. That's actually younger than me.
and off we'd go. There'd be somebody from the local area would come and say, "Is Jane there?" Or "Do you want to come out to play?"
But without adults.
No, there were no adults. This is, probably from about 7 or 8. We were free range.
Yeah, I had free range
and
too.
Your parents generally knew where you were. We knew not to go too far at that age. We got further and further.
Were they mixed age groups, do you think? I think with me it was that. There were older ones and younger ones, and the older one looked after the younger
ones. A little bit of that. Then there was a few older brothers and sisters, but generally we were of the same age group. And there'd be 2 of us or maybe 4 of us, and we'd all go romping around, just seeing what adventures we could find. And you'd find old kind of shop doorways that weren't used, and it would become a den, and you found your adventures.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter whether it's a city or a town. It's that freedom and the fact that you're in charge of your own selves, actually.
Yes, it's the power and the control to not have someone else telling you how to do things and what to do. You go and make decisions, and you take your play in its own direction.
Yeah. And is that something you obviously remember? It's obviously part of your growing up, and you felt it's important. And is that something you've tried to do with your own children now? Because you're living in inner city Oxford now.
I do live in inner city Oxford. We actually back onto a park, and it is really difficult to get my children to go out.
Yeah, that's how I had the same, and that's why I ended up doing all the books, because I knew that you had to sort of put it in a way, because they have so many temptations to stay in now.
Yes.
But you had to make it exciting. You had to tempt them out.
You know, when we were young, our parents would be dragging us back in.
Yes. And now we're trying to push them out.
We're trying to push them out. It's really gone full circle. So you know, nobody comes knocking on our door for are my daughters coming out to play. You know, you have to arrange a play date.
And do you think other parents might look at you as being a bit irresponsible if you encouraged that? Because I think a lot of parents worry about it.
I do think so.
Yeah.
There are some children in the street who were a bit more free range, and I know that there was a little bit of, they're always out. But
people don't like to frown, but then they don't realise the benefits, do they? And
no, they don't. They don't know the benefits. You're right.
And that's what I'm trying to show, is that actually it is a bit risky. It is this, but actually you have to look at the benefits of doing that.
And the dangers from certainly stranger danger is no more dangerous than it was a generation ago, according to statistics. There is more danger from traffic, but there's not any more danger that they'll get into trouble. But I think parents, the perceived danger is much greater in terms of parents thinking they're going to
and actually I think if you give them responsibilities and they're thinking for themselves rather than just thinking from a parent's point of view, I think they're less likely to get in danger because they're thinking.
They're thinking, and they're
aware.
They're aware of their own risk, and they become more resilient from negotiating risk and sorting out their
this
emotions.
is a little bit, we're coming full circle now about what the dragon is about, isn't it? Because it's about letting kids play, but a bit of risky play. There's you can't see here, but there's a stream here. They've got to climb. They can balance across a log to get over the stream, climb on it. It's actually living dragon, so it's not nice and even. And don't you think it's all about learning how to actually play with risk involved?
Absolutely, and you create your own self-confidence that comes from being a little bit scared and just knowing your own level of risk.
Anyway, so I think that's enough for today. We might have another one later, but thanks very much, Jane. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
Thanks.